Hey guys, it's Kayla. I'm here today with another video for you. This video is just going to be a little bit about me and the reasons why I have Otis, and then a little bit about PTSD service dogs in general. And then at the very end, I'm going to show you his equipment, like his vest and the different harnesses I use for him. So here you go. I was diagnosed with PTSD about 6 years ago. I am 19 years old currently. It has been a very long road to come to the point where I needed a service dog. I don't in any means say that it's a great idea to go there as a first step to get one. I went through a very long process with doctors and therapists talking about best options for me. I've tried many other things, medication and different therapy techniques, and nothing really helped me that much that I was able to control it completely on my own. Like I said, I wouldn't suggest getting a service dog unless you have tried other techniques first. But for me personally, my PTSD got to the point where I wasn't able to leave the house without someone I was comfortable with, like my mom or my dad. I couldn't go anywhere because every time I would go out, I would get to the point where I would have a panic attack just from a stressful situation when I was out. Didn't really matter what it was. Could be anything, just someone saying something to me, someone acting the wrong way to me. I have a lot of different triggers, so it's hard to say exactly what causes it every time, and I still don't know exactly what causes it every time. But when I do have a panic attack, and I can't say that these symptoms are the same for everyone. Okay, so my symptoms of PTSD might be different than other people's. I can't speak for everyone because everyone who has it has different symptoms based on whether they just have PTSD or whether they have OCD and anxiety disorder as well, like I do. So for me, my symptoms involve chest pains, feeling like I'm not able to breathe, like a lot of people think they're having a heart attack if they're having a panic attack, and you're not, but if it really feels like it. And then I can feel very flushed, like I have a fever, but I haven't been doing any sort of activity. I get tremors, kind of like, so my whole body will shake, like I have the chills, like I have the flu, but obviously I don't. It's just a side effect of the anxiety. So for me, those are the symptoms that I have. It's very debilitating when I have a panic attack. I will sit down on the ground. I'm not able to move. I can't snap out of it. So that's a lot of what Otis does for me, is help me snap back to reality, get me out of that thinking, and it does help a lot for me. So with having panic attacks, OCD, anxiety disorder, PTSD, they all kind of fall under the umbrella of anxiety disorder. But my OCD is not what you would think of when you think of OCD. Many people think that OCD is just being overly organized, like obsessive about cleaning, and or think of it as being a ritual, like, oh, I need to turn the lights on and off 6 times. For me, that's not what it is. I'm very obsessive about thoughts. So someone could say something to me, just one word, I mean, something ridiculous, the color green per se. Someone could say, oh, you know, that chair was green. And I'm not saying that this is what I think about, not anything like that, but just an example. So if they were to say that to me, I would think, I would just not be able to get off that thought. I would be thinking about it 100% all the time, not be able to think about anything else. So that's what OCD is for me. It's obsessive thoughts. And then the anxiety disorder just is the panic attacks for me. And that is because I have PTSD from a childhood trauma. So that's a little bit about what symptoms I have and the reasons that I need a service dog. So here's a little bit about my service dog and PTSD service dogs. So, a little information about PTSD service dogs is that each one is individually trained to perform different tasks for their handler. Because not every person's PTSD has the same symptoms, each dog has to be trained individually, geared towards the person's symptoms and what they need in specifics. So a few tasks, at least, that Otis performs for me are: one, he can alert me to when a panic attack is going to happen before it actually happens so that I'm able to take medication. So how he knows that is a sense of any heightened mood, whether I'm anxious or he can tell I'm getting upset or angry or anything like that. He's able to alert me by just like pawing at me, basically annoying me, so I know that something is wrong. So that's one thing that Otis does for me. A couple other things is he does security enhancement tasks. So what that means is I get very nervous around large crowds. So something he can do for me is when I'm walking through an area that's really crowded, or if he can tell I'm uncomfortable and there are a bunch of people around me, he can walk around me and kind of create a perimeter at any distance that I need him to, so that people can't get too close to me or startle me if someone's behind me and I don't know they're coming. He can alert me that they are coming. Just another thing that all service dogs kind of do, at least for PTSD and anxiety disorder, is just they're there to comfort you. When you're having a panic attack, it is very hard to be in the moment, and so they kind of make you realize what's going on. They make you pay attention to them, trying to get your focus off of whatever you're thinking about that's causing you the panic attack. So when I'm having a panic attack, Otis will lay on top of me and kind of annoy me, paw at me, you know, look for pets and attention to try and get me distracted and away from whatever I'm thinking about. So those are just a few things that he does for me specifically. But other dogs do other things for their handlers based on what their symptoms are. Sometimes people are afraid of loud noises, and it can comfort, the dog will comfort them if that happens. Sometimes people have what's called, I want to say dissociative disorder. I'll put a link in or insert a little bubble exactly what the name is, but that is when people basically have a panic attack and then forget where they are or who they are, maybe stray from the location. They won't remember walking away from where they were, and the dog can be trained to retrace their steps, basically to lead them back to where they are or take them home or to a safe location. Most all of the PTSD service dogs have security enhancement tasks, so whether that be, like I said, creating a perimeter around you, making sure people don't startle you, alerting to someone getting too close to you, searching a building before you go inside. They can go inside before you, they'll do a quick search and then bark if they find someone inside, so you would know if there was an intruder or something, if that is something that causes you fear. So those are just a few of the things that service dogs can do for their handler with PTSD. So I'm going to show you some of the equipment that I use with Otis, and like his vest that he wears and his harness, and then just a little bit of the things that we do with him. So this is Otis's service dog vest. It just says service dog in training, and then the little patches on the side say do not pet, do not distract. So this is very important. I've had a lot of issues going in stores where people are like, oh, it's such a cute puppy, I just want to pet it, and go ahead and reach for him, and I'm like, no, like you can't pet him. You don't want your service dog to get distracted. The most important thing is that they are focused on you at all times, because they're working to help you, and they can't have other people coming up and petting them and distracting them, because then their attention is not focused towards you, which can be very hard. You just kind of have to tell people nicely, look, you know, I know he's really cute, he's a puppy, you want to pet him, but he's in training and he needs to focus, so please don't pet him. Another thing is you want to keep the dog, I keep saying him because my service dog is a boy, but you want to keep your dog really close to you usually when you're training them. So we use leashes that are only 4 feet long. You don't want them to get too far away from you. You want them to stay right at your side. So for me, Otis is trained to walk on my left side, and I need him to stay very close so I can see what he's doing, so he won't get distracted. I can keep him away from things. And so most importantly, usually you use a short leash. I have one that's 2 feet long too, but he's a little bit small for that right now for me to comfortably hold him. So the harness that we use for him is called a Sensation harness. It looks like this. It slips over their head, and the little loop on the bottom is under their head. This is on the top, and then it clips right under their arm. Harness pulling on their neck because it can damage their trachea and cause breathing problems. This harness pulls underneath his arms where it won't cause him any problems, and it gets his attention a lot faster. You don't have to like yank or choke them or anything like that, and it's very effective. So that's the harness we use for him. It's called a Sensation harness. Otis is going to be going back to his trainer soon. I think the 14th, so very, very soon. I'm sad about him going back, but it'll be good. Having him at home has been a little difficult because sometimes it will cause me more anxiety, which is a little hard to explain right now, but because I'm very anxious in public situations and he's not completely trained yet, if he's to do something wrong, it makes me very anxious, or like, oh my goodness, everyone's looking at me because he had an accident. But he's just a puppy, and you have to realize, you know, puppies in training, they do have accidents. That's just the way it is. So he will be going back to his trainer for some more lessons. He's gotten a little bit lax on his training from being at home with me, just because I have 2 other dogs and my parents and stuff are around, and it's hard to keep all his attention on me when he has distractions like the other dogs and my parents. When he goes back, the trainer will be able to put a little bit more pressure on him. At a young age, they can't have the emotional pressure they need to get trained as strictly. So now that he is 4 months old, she's able to put a little bit more pressure on him, not physically in any way, not harming him at all, but just so that he really gets it. He gets what's going on, he knows he needs to pay attention, and teach him a little bit more serious tasks, whereas before he was just learning basic things, basic obedience, and getting desensitized to things, loud noises, taking him places where there's fans and sirens, and taking him in places with lots of people, and movie theaters and restaurants, just everywhere that he'll be able to go with me, he needed to be desensitized to. He can't be afraid of anything. Service dogs are not allowed to have fears, basically. If they're afraid, it's going to make you afraid. So it's really important that he doesn't have any fears of anything. So that's what this trainer will be working on with him for a month, and then he will come back. But I go back and forth for training lessons with him. They're only about an hour long, and we just go out. I handle him myself so that the trainer can see what I'm doing as a handler and how he's doing with me. So it'll be really nice, and of course I'll miss him, but it's good for him. And then when he comes back, he'll be home for about a month or 2, and he will get neutered, and then he will go back to the trainer for another month, and he should be done almost completely with training, which will be so nice. I'll be able to take him everywhere with me, which will relieve a lot of stress from the situation right now. So that's a little update on Otis, and just a little bit more about myself and why I have him. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will be back soon. Alright, bye.